Hello there, this is Daniele from Toolchefs, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can use the network editor module. This video is going to be a bit more technical than the others, so hopefully you won't find it too confusing. Also, I would like to introduce a couple of new concepts. The first one is the idea of the node network of each agent. So the node network is actually what builds the pose for each agent at each frame. You can think about it like the brain of the agent, so it has some inputs, some outputs, and in the end it builds the pose of the agent. Also, we're going to start having a look at metadatas. Metadatas are the custom data that Atoms uses. They can be attached to almost every entity in Atoms, such as joins, agents, and agent types. In our scene here, we're having a very simple setup again, a grid layout and a clip reader. The clip reader is reading the Atoms robot work clip. If I press play, you see that there's also this locator which is moving in space. And what I'd like to do here is to have the agent to follow that locator. You could do this already by using the follow target module, but we're going to do it using the network editor module. The network editor will show you the node graph that was created until this point in the module list. This is because all modules, so for instance in this case, the grid layout and the clip reader, will add or change metadatas or will edit the node network of the agents. So the grid layout in this case just creates the agents, and the clip reader builds the nodes that are necessary for building the pose of the agent by reading the Atoms robot work clip. So now I'm going to select the network editor module, and I'm going to open the network editor window. Just to have a quick tour of the UI, here you can select the nodes by just typing their names. You can shift F for framing the selection, press F for framing the entire network. In here you have the inspector, which allows you to change values of the nodes that you have selected. The inspector is just showing you the first node that is selected. Whenever you change a port value, you see that here the port turns red. You can go back by using the history here, or you can press the reset port values button. The red coloring happens only for locked nodes like this one. So the locked nodes are the nodes that were created by previous modules. These nodes you cannot delete them, but you can delete connections and create new connections. You cannot delete those because the previous modules that created these nodes actually rely on them, so they're going to use them through the simulation. And if you start deleting those modules will become pretty confused, and that's why we lock them. Then here we have also three fake nodes: the build pose node, pre-build pose node, and the post-build pose node. These are fake because these are actually stages into Atoms, but in the code, in the underlying code, we don't actually have these nodes. The build pose node has just one input, and it's basically the input port type is a pose type. So this is actually the pose that gets computed for the agent. And then the pre-build pose node and the post-build pose nodes, they can have like a variable number of inputs, so you can attach any number of nodes, and all the nodes connected to these two nodes will be evaluated. So in the case of the pre-build pose node, before the build pose stage happens, and in the case of post-build pose node, after the build pose stage happens. So also in here we have a quick help showing you a little bit what you can do. We have okay, of course you can select, delete, and so on, and you can register, but again you can just press Ctrl S to save the graph to Atoms. This option here, the refresh node factory, you will use it only when you are gonna load the new nodes after you have opened for the first time this UI. This is because if you register new nodes, this UI has an internal database where it stores all the available nodes. So if you register them after this UI has been opened, you have to click on this button so that that database actually refreshes. Okay, so now let's start creating some nodes. So what we want to do here again is to have that agent to follow that locator. So we're gonna use some metadatas. And the first one is we're gonna get a vector metadata, and we're going to get the position of the agent. I forgot to mention that if you double click, you expand or contract the node. We need to attach the time to this node, and then we are gonna expose a vector to Atoms. So whenever you add an expose node, this gets converted to a Maya attribute. So to this node, we're gonna attach the locator. We're gonna change its name to target. Target position. This is gonna be the name of the attribute in Maya. Then we're going to have a subtract vector. Then we're gonna normalize it. And there we're going to set agent vector metadata. This is going to be direction. The last thing that we have to do is to set to connect this node to the pre-build post nodes. So that basically this network here gets evaluated before the build post stage. So we are basically setting the direction for the agent by setting the direction metadata before this network evaluates. So if I now press Ctrl S and I go back into Atoms, I'm going to close this UI here. If now I press play, you'll see that the agent will go crazy just because it will point always to the origin. What we have to do here is to select these two guys, open the connection editor, then I'm going to select the translation, select the target position, so those are connected now. I'm going to press play. So you see that now the agent follows that locator. Now what I want to do is to create 3 agents, and now if I press play, you'll see that all those agents will be following that locator. What I'd like to do is to have just one of these agents to follow it. So I'm going just for a second to show the metadatas, and I'm going to show you the group ID. So we want to see the group ID of these guys. So let's say we want just this agent here to follow the locator, so we need to remember the group ID too. So I'm going to delete that metadata, and I'm going to disable the draw metadata. So I'm going to open again the network editor, and we have to edit a little bit the UI, the graph here. So let's go in here. We want to get the agent vector metadata. We need to get the direction. This is because what we have to do is we have to have these only to evaluate for all the other agents that have an ID different from 2, while we want this to happen just for that agent with ID set to 2. So now I'm going also to get the agent int metadata. So this is going to be group ID, and I'm going to touch the time here. Okay, then need an if long and a compare long. So the compare actually compares 2 values. So here we are getting the group ID. Here we want to say the group ID is 2, and then this is gonna go in the if statement. Here we're gonna say, actually, sorry, it's not an if long, it's an if vector. And this one goes in here, and then this one goes there. Okay, so as you saw already here, whenever you connect something to a node, then the connected port disappears. So this is why here we just see the into port. The other one is not visible because it's connected with the out attribute of the out port of this node here. So I'm gonna press Ctrl S. Now it's registered. I'm going to close this UI, press rewind, and now only that agent is following the locator. This is all for using the network editor module. Thanks for watching.